Well, hey there, it is Cecilia Morris, your engineer by education and home business owner by desire. And today I am going to share with you my thoughts and those of the people that I associate with on whether or not you need a formal education, an entrepreneurship education, or both. So I'm going to go ahead and share this in a few groups because I've got something coming up really interesting here. Make sure you can hear me okay. Yeah. All right. Let me turn this down. I'm only going to share it in a few, but make sure you stay tuned to the very end because I have some really good information to share about some education that you can get. So with that being said, let me share this in a few groups so we can get this started. For those who don't know me, my name is Cecilia Morris, and yes, I am a degreed engineer, but I've also been in the home-based business arena for over 10 years, and I like to help network marketers learn how to use digital marketing strategies to build their brand and their business online. And the reason why I chose that group as my target market is because I was one of those strugglers back in the day. So I like to share the skills and tools that I have learned with others so they can avoid some of the pitfalls that I ran into along the way. All right, so let me start sharing this out so we can go ahead and get this going. Remember to stay tuned to the end because I've got some really good information to share, just FYI. And if you are watching me for the first time, give me a 1 in the comments. If you're watching the replay, hit hashtag replay. If you are getting value, of course, always type value and let me know what resonated with you the most. And for those of you that were joining in with me last week, on Wednesday, we got a super, super good treat because my dad was over. We were having a movie date and we watched The Butler, but he gave us his thoughts on what it means to have a job versus being an entrepreneur at 80 years old. My dad worked for the post office in 1965. Don't remember exactly when he said he left, but when he did leave, he went to be his own boss and he never looked back. Some of the things he talked about as far as being an entrepreneur are that you have choices, and nothing is better in life except having the choice to choose to do what you want to do instead of doing what you have to do. So I want to get this posted in a few more groups, and then we'll talk about the formal education versus an entrepreneur education. And a lot of this also goes back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I know we're all familiar with him. And, you know, that's what he talks about is entrepreneurship. That is his thing. And I totally understand why. So some of the things that have happened this year in the United States is Toys R Us. And I think Toys R Us is global, but all the Toys R Us stores in the United States are closing. That is 30,000 people that are going to be out of work here by the end of the year or early next year. There is a local hospital here in my city of Dayton, Ohio, that's been around for almost 100 years. They are shutting their doors. And then by this time next year, the building will be torn down and the property appropriated, I think is what they said. So that means it's going to something else. The third thing that's happened is I've had my own personal financial setbacks. And the fourth thing that has happened is Elder Beerman or Bonton stores, if you've heard of them. If you haven't, you can look them up. That's Elder, E-L-D-E-R, Beerman, B-E-E-R-M-A-N. They went into bankruptcy, and a couple of weeks ago, they announced they're closing all of their stores. So I don't know how many people that's going to be out of work, but I know just in my immediate vicinity, there are 1, 2, 3 Elder Beerman stores. And these are huge department stores like Macy's, okay, that are closing. So let's talk about, let me see, I'm going to do one more group here really fast, and then we'll go ahead and get it started. So formal education. So what do you get with a formal education? Well, you can do technical school, you can do vocational school, or you can do formal college, or you can go to school online. What you will get is a formal education in that field that you chose to get educated in. And if that is your desire and your vocation, like for instance, if you like being a nurse, well then yes, go to school to be a nurse. Or if you have the gift of gab and can win an argument and you want to be an attorney, then yes, go to school and be an attorney. But be prepared to put in years of education. For my engineering degree, it took me 4.5 years to get my engineering degree. And then I went back to get my master's in business administration, specializing in marketing and MIS. And that took me another 3 years. So that's 7.5 years of my life that I spent on a formal education, and close to $100,000 that I am still paying for today. That's formal education. And you only get specialized in that one field. So one of the things that I get asked sometimes is, why did you decide to get your MBA versus getting your master's in engineering? Well, the reason why is because I didn't want to be too specialized. So if I went back and got my master's in my engineering field, I'd be too specialized. And then I'd be opening up a whole other can of worms in terms of how I'm going to be successful in the marketplace. And plus, like my dad said, once again, remember that when you have when you're an entrepreneur, you have choices. You are able to make decisions that people who are in the workforce cannot make. You are at your income is determined by your value. So in the video, and you got to go back and watch, it was great. My 80-year-old father talked about how he was a tree cutter and he was super good as a tree cutter. And I asked him, what's the most he ever made for cutting down one tree? And he told me $1,600. $1,600 in a day for cutting down one tree. He would not have gotten that working at the post office. And also, my dad was not formally educated. He went to the Air Force, and I thank all veterans for their service, but he was working at the post office sorting mail. I don't know if he'd ever advanced high enough in the post office to where he was going to make $1,600 in one day. All right, so let's finish this up because I want to share with you some really good information here at the end. But the biggest takeaway that I got from my dad in our interview was we talked about my formal education and my entrepreneurship. He's very familiar with my business, my online business. And I asked him, what do you think people need? What message would he give to the people? And he said, you need both. So what I am going to do is I'm sharing with you an opportunity here in about 8 minutes to get a formal entrepreneur education. Because at the end of the day, in this entrepreneurial world that we live in, if you're not educated on how to use online marketing, on how to build your business without being spammy and an overbearing salesperson, if you aren't learning how to use digital marketing strategies, your business is never going to go anywhere. That's just the nature of the beast. So let me go ahead and put this link in here. So that way, if you want to attend this amazing webinar by my friend Gail and Paula, then you will be able to jump in and watch live. Now, in this webinar, you are going to learn how a $1 investment can lead to a 1,000 payday a day, 1,000 day payday, not a day, but a 1,000 payday from people who I personally have the privilege of meeting. Now, some of these amazing people I met, Keisha Bass, she made $140,000+ last year. Ace and Rich, $170,000 last year. The super doer, Sean Johnson, I believe he brought home $45,000 last year. Zach Shahid and Marvin Sykes, both of them brought home over $11,000 last year. Now I brought in some pretty decent money from my standards since I'm new to this online world, but I'm ready to hit that 5-digit mark. 4 digits are good, 5 is better, and 6 is phenomenal. And these are the people that I'm introducing you to on how to get a formal entrepreneurial education. You need both, but if you're going to navigate this entrepreneurial world, you need to know how to do things the right way to avoid the failures and the pitfalls that we have encountered along the way. Why reinvent the wheel? More importantly, where else can a $1 investment lead to a 1,000 day payday? Nowhere that I know of. In this webinar, you will learn the exact system that I spent 4 days with some phenomenal people in Arizona learning how to use and implement. Now, I've been with this program and this system since September of last year, and I've done pretty good to my standards. However, once again, 4K is good, 4 digits is good, 5 digits is better, and 6, once again, is amazing. So listen in. Click the link so that way you can get registered. It's about 30-40 minutes. Gail is an awesome online marketing pro, and she's a beautiful person. As I mentioned, Keisha Bash, Sean Johnson, Zach Shaheed, Marvin Sykes, Ace and Rich. I know I'm Erica. I can't remember her last name. Spidey Poo. I mean, I just met some really, really good people earlier in the month of April that are using this exact same system that we're going to share with you in about 5 minutes. So click the link to get registered. After watching the video, get back with me and I will show you how you can turn a $1 investment into a $1K payday. All right, I'll see you in 5 minutes. Click the link.